Hey, what's going on, guys? Ozric here, and this is a gameplay on Overflow, and today we're going to talk about a dominant powerhouse of a custom class and a weapon that if you haven't been using it, you're missing out. Alright, so the class setup I'm using is the SMR rifle. It's a semi-automatic rifle. Really good. Comparable to the FAL. It's another one of those type of breed weapons. The class is flak jacket. It should be hardline, but I was playing some C4 tossing guys and I needed to add in some type of protection, so I added in the flak. Also using toughness. I'm using scavenger, and then I'm also using tactical mask. It's kind of like a standard setup for my assault rifles. Is always use the tac mask. Sometimes I run dexterity, but not too often. Usually stick with tac. And then scavenger toughness is pretty much all I run nowadays on the ARs. It's really crucial to be able to get more ammo, because I mean, this thing, for example, you only get, what is it, 90 bullets and then plus 20 in your original clip. You burn through that so fast, and I just find it's pretty hard to go on long kill streaks. You know, sometimes you have to pick up other people's weapons, and you know, there's like snipers and shotguns, stuff that I don't want to use, so that's why I always run the scav. Another thing, as far as the SMR goes, why I like this gun so much is it unmodified, like without the select fire, it has the highest damage out of any assault rifle in the game. Absolutely devastating. It's very comparable to the FAL, except the FAL shoots a little bit faster. The FAL shoots in like the 600 RPM range. SMR, without select fires, in the 500. When you slap on select fire, it drops down about 100 RPM. And I am using select fire in this gameplay. What I find is that I like select fire more than I do the semi-automatic. I have a pretty good trigger finger, but I find that using select fire, even though it slows down the shot a little bit, it actually makes the recoil a little more manageable. It just shoots at a nice steady pace, and the biggest part about that is it's a consistent pace, and that's real key for being accurate. Is you want to have a consistent shot. You want to be able to predict how the gun's going to handle. For example, if you get into a panic situation with the FAL or the SMR especially, because it does have a little more recoil than the FAL, when you get into a panic situation, if you rapidly tap the SMR shoot button, recoil is going to go all over the place, and it's just not as consistent. That's why I use automatic. And then even when you're using automatic, when you need that extreme accuracy from distance, you can just slow down the shot and just manually tap it as if it's semi-automatic. Really effective. I've had a lot, and I mean a lot, of success using this. I would put this on par with my LSAT class. That's how good I would rate this weapon. I have 4 setups right now, all of them ARs and LMGs that are kind of like my go-to classes. I don't really use SMGs too much, although I do have like 1 or 2 classes set up with those still. What those are is my number one go-to when everything is getting tough. I gotta have, you know, something strong. I use the LSAT, you know, my patented LSAT class that I've been showing you guys. Then next I probably go on to the AN94 or the MTAR. Depending on the map, AN94 has a little more recoil than the MTAR, but MTAR is definitely a lot more accurate. They both hit extremely hard, just depending on the lines of sight and what type of weapons the enemies are using. I'll alternate between those two. But this adds in a whole nother dimension. I feel as though I can shut down people up close because, you know, anywhere within this range that I'm shooting here, this is a 2-shot kill. That means if there's anybody that, you know, runs up on me and, you know, and I have to panic, I just hold down the trigger with the semi-auto, bam, 2 shots, 3 shots max, dead. Never takes over 3 bullets to kill somebody with the SMR. Medium range, like I said, it still kills extremely fast because of the damage. And I mean, the gameplay speaks for itself. I mean, just look how fast you can kill people as long as you're accurate. And that's one of the biggest things is, you know, at this point in time in Black Ops 2, you know, we're a little over halfway into the lifespan of it. You should be pretty accurate with the weapons. You should understand how the mechanics of the game work, and it's time to start moving on to some of the weapons that take advantage of that accuracy, such as the fouls, such as the burst weapons, such as the LMGs. If you could be really aggressive with LMGs as long as you're really accurate. That's what I found. Another thing that I added onto the SMR is I'm using stock, which is really crucial because I think this gun, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it does have a little bit slower raise and drop time, meaning the time to raise your gun and drop your gun a little bit slower. So what I like to do is have stock. I always like to have the sights up, be ready for encounters, because as long as you have your sights up and the enemy is not expecting you, you will win that gunfight. I'd say probably 95% of the time. It's very rare, and I kind of confirmed that today when I played against a clan. It was me, my boy SK. He's also playing in this game. SK, my boy Swift, and 2 other buddies of mine. We got into a match. We played these guys, pretty sweaty tryhards. I slapped this bad boy on, and I was going to work. They were using ARs. By the way, this class completely shuts down anyone's AR class. So when you got somebody going up against you with MTARs and AN94s, some of the hard to stop stuff, slap on this SMR, I guarantee you're going to see a huge difference in your performance. The fact is that you know, the skill in Call of Duty, it's not about skill. It's just who has a better connection and who's using the better setup for the situation. That's really all it comes down to. But yeah, it's a pretty good gameplay. I had 80 something kills, 4 deaths, almost went double nuclear there. I got stopped on a 26, and at the end I pulled out that nuke. But definitely try out the SMR, guys. I'm recommending this. This is something that you have to try. It is extremely powerful. You're going to see a lot more videos of the SMR coming from me. I'll catch you guys next video. I'm out. Peace.